They don't have to, I don't think. The overtime will end here before the clock. 7 seconds, 6. They are going to snap it. Mahomes going to roll to his right, throws, touchdown. The Chiefs have won the Super Bowl. Mecole Hardman, as they roll Mahomes right, Mecole Hardman is wide open. And the Chiefs win the Super Bowl back-to-back years. Another heartbreaking loss for Kyle Shanahan.
All right, there you go. As we are live from Las Vegas, 25-22, the Chiefs in overtime. And ironically enough, not in a good way, I guess, Kyle Shanahan has been involved in the only 2 overtime games in the history of the Super Bowl. He lost, of course, when he was with Atlanta as the offensive coordinator. They're up 28-3. They go overtime and lose 34-28 to Tom Brady and the Patriots and the new Tom Brady. And there's no denying that it is a Chiefs dynasty now. Patrick Mahomes, and that's the guy. You don't want him to have the ball at the end, 25-22. So a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties. Christian McCaffrey, a fumble on that first possession. 49ers certainly dominated that first quarter and a lot of the first half, but they got a 53-yard play to Hardman. They got a nice drive to get a field goal right before the end of the half, or else the 49ers would have a 10-0 lead. It was 10-3 at the half for the 49ers. And then it was on Jake Moody had an extra point block. He did kick a 52-yarder. Harrison Butker ties it late. The 49ers get a field goal with their first possession, had a real opportunity to get a touchdown there. And then Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. He drives the Chiefs down the field. He hits Mecole Hardman for a touchdown. They don't need an extra point. 25-22. The Chiefs end the Super Bowl dream of the 49ers. John Lund, Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion Dennis Brown, as we are live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. What'd you think, Dennis?
It feels like the last Super Bowl that we covered, right?
You just said it.
I mean, it was quarter number 5, but you have a team on defense. We were talking about the defense. Defense has to show up. Chase Young shows up. Nick Bosa shows up. Hargrave shows up. That whole front line shows up. Armstead shows up. Offense is clicking along, like you said, in the first quarter. They kind of dominated. You go in the locker room 10-3 ahead, and then I think it's just the experience, the veteran kind of takes over in this football game. Andy Reid, Mahomes, Kelce, these guys in the second half or in the fifth quarter for sure come out and they play like Super Bowl champs. And and we talked before the game. It's who can commit the least amount of mistakes.
And Niners had a lot of them.
Yeah, and the 49ers had a lot of them. You talk about the fumble, you talk about the block punt, you talk about the penalties. So
they were in. I was just tracking third downs. They were in 3rd, 10, 12, 15, just a ton, and you're just not going to get that against the Kansas City defense. And a lot of that was because, as you said, they either a couple of times got behind the sticks because of play calls, a loss of yards, but most of it was, and I was surprised by this. They go down, they get the ball, they lose the toss, they get the ball. McCaffrey at the 27-yard line fumbles. Well, they're just shredding the Chiefs, and they don't get points there. But then on the second possession, they're moving up, they get it up around midfield. And Trent Williams goes a false start hold.
Right.
And you just don't see that from Trent. They got behind the sticks there, and they got to punt it back to Kansas City. So like you said, early in the game, the defense was really going, and they were holding the Chiefs down. And you're looking at the stats after the first quarter. It's complete dominance by the 49ers, but there's no points on the board. And it was one of those games where you felt like they should be up a touchdown or maybe 10 points, and it was a tie at the end of the first quarter. And you knew that opportunity lost against Kansas City means that they're going to stay in that game, and number 15 is going to make plays at the end, and he did.
Yeah, and that's what it. I mean, just watching the football game, you see it, you think, you go down even in that overtime, and you don't put 7 points on the board, and we can talk about the decision, but you see that, you see three points, you only get that field goal, you decide to take the ball in overtime, and we can talk about this forever. But then you have Mahomes, probably one of the best quarterback of this era right now. You put the ball in his hands, and he's going to make it happen.
What do you think, Copes?
I think this whole thing sucks. This is the worst finish experience of my entire life, for sure. There's a lot of crap. There's a lot of stuff to cycle through, and we'll do it. We'll get to your thoughts, too, at 808 KNBR 415-808-5627 is the number to call. We are getting the live stream up and running. I'm slow to move, dude, because I was just bummed. I was, out moping around, walking around the stadium, dude. Real quick, you asked my thoughts on it. My thoughts are basically what you said. It was a game that felt like the feeling of the game was a lot like the last one, except that I thought Mahomes played worse the last time around. Throwing 2 interceptions, I thought the Niners' defense this time played as well as they had played all season long, Dennis, for 4 quarters until the very end. And at times where they allowed field goals against the Chiefs just feel like they hurt a lot more. Am I wrong on that? Like,
you're exactly right.
It's like field goals for 3 count for 6 or 7 because it's just a 2-score game at the half would have been monumental. I think in the Chiefs getting the ball back in the second half to start it. The Niners start the game with the ball, which immediately to me I hated. Then McCaffrey fumbles, and I'm like, what the? None of this feels. The whole thing stinks. I tell you, that's what it felt like, right? It's they're in a situation they shouldn't be in, that they're not normally in, but not a big deal. He fumbles, they get stops. Mahomes, I remember at the end of the first quarter, they threw a stat up on the scoreboard here that said Brock Purdy 8 of 9 for like 101 yards or whatever. Patrick Mahomes was 3 of 3 for 9 yards, and I was like, that's a 6 stat. That's sweet.
Yeah,
they're moving the ball. They're looking okay.
And they had no answer for Christian McCaffrey, right? I mean, this whole football game, he was able to get 3, 4, 5 yards a pop. They had, even with that fumble, and I think to all-purpose yards, he had over 160 yards all-purpose. So even that fumble happened, still had no answer. Even that in that last drive in overtime, there was no answer for Christian McCaffrey. But you didn't come back. You didn't come out with the 7 points, and you needed that 7 points. If you're going to take the ball first and give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, you need 7 points on field.
We'll get into that part too, and I'm sure that's what everybody's going to hinge on, and it's what I'm hinging on. I can't say I'm in as I walk past on my way up here and just walking around and moping around the stadium, being like, dude, why don't we take the ball, man? What was that about? Why? How come? Why, John?
It really sounded after the game, and thanks for joining us as we recap the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna be a baby, by the way.
25-22.
I'm just going to be get me out of this
Vegas.
Damn city. I don't want to be here. This is the worst thing.
But
What's going on?
And listen to the post game for Kyle Shanahan, and we'll play it a little bit later. He really sounded as if, even though he said that they had talked about it before, I think they sounded surprised because just to describe it to people, maybe you're coming home from watching a party or something and maybe you're confused by it because this is the first time it's ever been used. And the reason why both teams get possession now, ironically enough, is because of Kansas City-Buffalo playoff game, and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes went back and forth, and Kansas City won it in overtime, and Buffalo didn't get to touch the football, so they changed the rule in the offseason in these big games that both teams are guaranteed a possession no matter what the first team does. So what Kyle, I think, should have done, and I don't know, I'm not real smart, so Kurt Warner's in the Westwood One studio right next to us. I said, Kurt, do you take the ball there or do you not?
You asked Kurt Warner?
Yeah. And
what did Kurt Warner say?
He said, you take the ball second. Because, especially
that's what I said.
Especially against Patrick Mahomes.
I think that's what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it in a baseball sense, that means you have last at bat. So in other words, Patrick Mahomes can still beat you, but you at least get to find out first what he did. So if Patrick Mahomes gets a field goal, then you need at least a field goal, fine. But if you reverse that and Patrick Mahomes scores that touchdown, it doesn't guarantee that the 49ers are going to win. But what it does guarantee is Kyle's got to be aggressive enough. So when they were down at the 9-yard line there, he's got to be more aggressive because he knows he needs the touchdown to beat Patrick Mahomes. Wouldn't you want to know ahead of time? Because now Patrick Mahomes...
Yes, you want to know what you're chasing.
Right.
Of course.
So here,
I agree. This is the logic.
The Niners get a field goal, and Patrick Mahomes knows now if he gets a touchdown, he's going to beat you. So what's his mindset? I'm getting a damn touchdown, and that's what he did. So, look, the Niners made mistakes, all these different things we're going to talk about for years and years and years. But the reality is that they made a mistake, and maybe Kyle's not going to admit it tonight, but when he gets a few days to think about it, talk to some people, they should have deferred. So in a regular season game, you defer. In a overtime situation during the regular season where you get a touchdown, you can win, you take the ball. In situations like this,
because you may never see it again. Because if they score, then you don't get to touch it. But
in a situation like this, especially against Patrick Mahomes, you want to see what he does first.
Yeah. Well, is it possible that he wasn't clear on the rule? No, with all the people on the staff, upstairs, downstairs, coaches everywhere, do you think there was a confusion on kind of how the rule, or was he just saying my defense is playing great? My defense is gonna come up with that big play.
I would have trusted the defense today, and I wouldn't accuse him of that. I mean, he's one of the smartest coaches in football, and until that's something that's speculated or something that's said from that's a real story. I don't think we should speculate that. I think my thought on it is more that he's being aggressive, and I think he thinks he's putting the pressure. To your point, nobody was stopping Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
I think he thought we're going to score. They've had a tough time scoring. They scored one touchdown, man. Like they're like this. They were struggling on offense to move the ball. Now they had a couple of big plays on third downs, which is something. It's been a problem, I think. But I think the bigger issue here is that one, they did not give themselves the opportunity to be as aggressive as Andy Reid. I don't want Andy Reid to be as open book and as aggressive as he wants to be with an opportunity to come score a touchdown with the best quarterback probably skill-wise. We may, when it's all said and done, say he's the best skill-wise quarterback in the history of football. He's got three Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I think to give him the opportunity, like John's saying, to come beat you is the wrong decision. I think Kyle, again, these things get boiled down, especially when it comes down to one game like this. It's a Game 7 type thing, right? Gets boiled down to one game. Every decision is going to be scrutinized. But again, I'm looking at the clock right here, man. OT, 3 seconds sitting there on the clock, man.
This is Miami all over again. Honestly, me and Dennis, the same thing. It was the same confetti. It was the same end zone to look at. It was the same. This is deja vu. But look, regardless, and I know we'll talk about this decision for a long time, but I really think it comes down to you had an opportunity. You were up 10-0. You got to go pedal to the metal all the time on Patrick Mahomes, and they just couldn't do it. Now, in that regard, give Kansas City's defense a lot of credit. But I'm looking at I'm looking at these third downs, and this is really the problem.
Here it is, yeah.
They were 3 out of 12, but if you look at this whole thing, look at these third downs. 3rd and 19, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 14.
Are those all converted?
No. That's what I'm saying is they converted 1 3rd and 9 with an 18. They got a conversion to Chris Conley in the first quarter, 1:51 left in the first quarter for 18 yards.
Oh, this is Niners third down. I thought you were giving me the Chiefs third downs that were converted.
No, these are 49ers.
That's also like, man,
but these are the length of the first down.
Really
so they got one at 1:51 of the first quarter with Chris Conley. They didn't get another one until the end of the third quarter. So, again, we can say a bunch of different things, but those are all long third downs, impossible against Kansas City because Spagnuolo's going to bring a blitz, which means got to get rid of the ball quickly. They were jamming guys at the line of scrimmage. The officials were letting them play. So how are you going to convert a 3rd and 14 when they're coming with a blitz? Their corners are grabbing your receivers, and they can't get off the line. You can't convert that. And that's what happened the whole game. Couldn't score. So
I thought Usher was the best part of the whole thing.
And I had to do a halftime show, and I was telling people, you don't want to hear Usher. You want to hear me. You don't want to hear Usher.
Dude, I would kill for Usher right now.
Yeah, and at halftime, it was up, right? The defense was playing well. The offense was, you had 10 points on the board, but the offense was consistent.
Well, here's the thing. Again, a missed opportunity. 3rd and 10, first possession for the Chiefs. What do? Jair Brown gets an interception on the first possession of the second half. You got the ball at the Kansas City 44, and you're up 10-3. You get a field goal. You get give Moody credit. He hit a 53-yarder. So in that scenario, you're at the Kansas City 44. So for a 52-yarder, you got to get to like the 35. So if you get 9 yards in that situation, you might get another field goal, and you're up 13-3 at that point early in the third, but they got nothing out of that possession. Mahomes, it's same kind of thing. Through about 3 quarters, he wasn't that good.
Yeah.
He throws the pick to Jair Brown. You're up 10-3 with the ball at the Kansas City 44, and you don't take advantage of it.
Yeah, and with a team like Kansas City, those opportunities are huge, right? And we can talk about Ray-Ray McCloud and his muff, but that was one play. You talk about capitalizing on a turnover. Mahomes comes out, next play is a touchdown. So now you got a game. Now you got a game.
That play, Dennis. I'd like that play to not be a thing. And here's the thing: did that hit somebody's leg?
Greg and Tim said it did.
I didn't think it did, and then on the replay, 808 KNBR, maybe if you saw it, we'll look at a replay here too. My indication when I looked at the replay like 10 times was I thought it hit somebody's leg, and even if it didn't, I think Ray thought he did. Yeah, I thought about it hits off of somebody's ankle.
Okay, but I understand that. But
then you got to try to recover.
But he tried to pick it up.
Yeah, you got to fall on
dive
it. Somebody's standing behind you, bro. You're
standing between 2
players.
Again, that's you're Ray McCloud. You're in the Super Bowl. You're trying to make plays. I get it. But if there's a mistake like that inside your own 15, you dive on the football. You don't try to pick it up and run with it. Those are the mistakes that they made. Yeah. And honestly, if the 49ers, and they only get one shot at it, played the Chiefs 10 times, I think this would be 5-5. I think they're very evenly matched. Mahomes tilts it in the favor of Kansas City, which we saw at the end. But the 49ers, we're not ready to do this topic yet because 47 was a killer, 54 was a killer, and this one was too. But they had an opportunity and they blew it. They had opportunities and they blew it. And much like 54, much like 47, they blew opportunities to win this football game, and they allowed Mahomes at the end to say, "Hey, Patrick, you have a drive to beat us. go for it. And he did. Of course he did.
Because that's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does.
That's what he does.
I mean, you had Joe, you had Steve. You know.
That is what he does. And all he needed was that touchdown. Not even an extra point.
Yeah.
Just need that touchdown.
There you go. All right, let's get to it. And again, we'll open up the thoughts. We're on YouTube and Twitch as well, so we will get to your thoughts on all of tonight. And again, 25-22. So if you want to talk about it, maybe people will.
He's going to be the MVP, dude, for real.
Yeah.
So is Juwan Chase going to be the Super Bowl MVP?
When he threw touchdown, caught a touchdown.
Yeah,
a couple of big plays. Man.
Well, and plus he did. I'm sure you know this, but I'm going to tell this for the people. I know you know this, Copes. 400-1 was Juwan Jennings to win the MVP. So,
well, I'll tell you this, John, it was a bad bet. You'd have lost.
Yeah, you would have lost, but I will say that
you'd have had some fun, but you'd have lost. Oh my God, what are we doing here?
You would have had that.
415-808-5627. 808 KNBR is the number to call. Niners lose to the Chiefs, 25-22 in Super Bowl 58 in overtime. It's just the second ever Super Bowl to go to an overtime. The other one was Kyle Shanahan also participated. 28-3.
Let's give you the stat of the game. That's sponsored by good friends at Stevens Creek Toyota. Shop a huge selection of over 500 vehicles. Stevens Creek Toyota, the obvious choice. I'm going to go third downs, like we just said, 3 of 12, and many of them of the long variety. And against Kansas City, they were bringing the blitz on those third and longs, jamming receivers, and Brock Purdy had nowhere to go with the football. That was huge. Also, you could throw stats in terms of turnovers in there as well. They did get a couple from Kansas City, but they couldn't convert much like. But then Kansas City gets the Ray, and they do convert. So there you go, big differences in the game, and that is your stat of the game, brought to us by Stevens Creek Toyota. We'll come back from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. 49ers come close. They lose in overtime to the Chiefs, 25-22, and you heard it right here on the Sports Leader.
I mean, a lot of guys are quiet, and a lot of guys are still quiet right now. Not a lot has been said. It just hurts. We have the team, obviously, to do it, to win the whole thing, and come up short like that. The way things have been the last couple of years here, everyone wanted it so bad. So I think we're still trying to sort of gather, our thoughts and everything right now. But everyone in that locker room loves each other, I'll tell you that.
That is Brock Purdy, and the 49ers go down 25-22. We're going to get out the phone lines and the text lines as well. So if we can make you feel better, because sometimes you need to just get it out and be a productive member of society. 25-22 as we're live at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. John Lund, Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion Dennis Brown, the deja vu of Miami as we sit here looking at confetti.
808 KNBR, can you make us feel better? Can you make me and Dennis feel better?
How about that?
I'm actually more interested in that, if you can that help.
All right.
We need it.
Let's start out with Scott in Nevada. Hi, Scott. Welcome.
What's up, Scott?
Hey, how are you? Good to talk to you guys. Hey,
Yeah, you too.
great game, but the mistakes are going to happen, fumbles are going to happen, turnovers are going to happen. Everybody can question, the coach on the end in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So where I question it is on fourth down at the 9-yard line. You're playing scared, not thinking Brock can be the guy. And you can't do that. This guy's in the Super Bowl, and you got to let him win the game. Rely on your defense to keep them from going 55 yards. They could punt. You could still get the ball back then and kick a field goal. That's, I think, a bigger bad decision than not taking the ball in overtime.
So you're talking about the final offensive possession for the 49ers. Is that where you're at?
Oh, absolutely. Because you've got two things that will occur for you. Defense is playing tough all game. They're awesome, and you put 7 on the board. That's why you took the ball, right? You're going to go down and put 7 on the board, and they played chicken with Brock all game when they shouldn't have, because their defense was showing up. The KC was pinching the whole game, and they made Purdy a deer in headlights instead of giving him a chance to win. Couple turnovers, so what? You had a turnover with McCaffrey that hardly ever happens. So if you had a turnover with Purdy, it opens up the game a little bit. I mean, that's what I didn't like about the game. They played too conservative. Once they knew the defense could stop Mahomes to some degree, they should have opened it up and said, okay, if Purdy has a turnover, don't worry about it.
Scott, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. And I think what he's getting down to is, and this is going to haunt him, because the Juszczyk play gets him down there. They get right down there. Juszczyk gets 15 yards down to the 13-yard line. Then at 1st and 10, they went right guard for 9. They got 6 yards on that one. They go down to the Kansas City 9, 2nd and 4. And I think what he's talking about here is McCaffrey right guard, no gain. 3rd and 4, the ball gets knocked down, and then they have to settle for the field goal. He's saying on 2nd and 4, keep the pedal to the metal, don't give it to McCaffrey. I get it. I can't really question that play call, because McCaffrey, remember, he gets the big play down the left sideline. McCaffrey is so good around the goal line. You're thinking he's gonna make a play here. I understand the frustration. I understand his thought process there. But if you can put the ball in Christian McCaffrey's hands on a 2nd and 4, it's probably a good thing. He's the offensive player of the year. I don't really have an issue with that.
Yeah, and that he's talking about that final drive in overtime, and again, that was a 7-minute drive. I think 7 minutes and some change.
7:19,
yeah. So your defense is on the side, who's been playing well the entire football game, and I think Kyle Shanahan was thinking, I trust my defense. They're going to go out and make a play now. I mean, they're rested a little bit. I mean, it is the 5th quarter. Everyone's kind of worn down, but I think he had a lot of confidence, and that's probably why he didn't go for the touchdown. He goes for the field goal thinking that my defense is going to be rested on the sidelines. They've been sitting there for 7 minutes. They're going to go out, they're going to make a play, because the 49ers defense, they show up in the 4th quarter. But in this 4th quarter against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, veterans, that big play never happens. You get in some 3rd and longs, you have an opportunity to do it, and you don't do it. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, players make plays. That's what it is, and just didn't happen that last drive.
Okay, but the Chiefs also, after they punted in the second half, they had a 9-play drive after the interception, right? They had an interception, they had 3 plays and a punt, a 3 and out, and they go a field goal after a 9-play drive for 47. Then they go a punt. But after that, you're talking about the defense being on the field like a very short amount of time. They had the 1-play touchdown after the Ray McCloud sort of muff, or that whatever that situation was on the punt. Then the Chiefs' next 3 drives go 12 plays, 536 field goal, 11 plays, 150, but it's 64 yards on that deep pass and a field goal. And then they end the game with a 13-play, 75-yard, 7-19 touchdown. It's a lot of time on the field for the defense in the second half. I mean, those are long, sustained drives. So, and for me, this is kind of how the Chiefs get you. Like, I think for the way people think about the Chiefs, it's oftentimes Tyreek Hill, it's big-time plays, it's downfield, it's deep passes. They did have one big one of those, the Mecole Hardman catch downfield, but outside of that, what the Chiefs do to you is they sort of kill you the way Kyle Shanahan will. They'll hit you with some shorter pass plays. Patrick Mahomes keeps things alive, makes it seem like he's impossible to stop. He'll hit Travis Kelce, who, like he had up here, he makes the sort of delayed drag route run, and he goes up the left side for big yardage. It's not always chunk plays, and we know this as 49er fans or people who watch this team a lot. It's not always through the air downfield. I just think a lot of times it's death by 1,000 paper cuts and then one big dagger, and they're just waiting around for you to make a mistake, and the Niners left the door.
Well, it's their quarterback. I mean, that's why everybody all week long said, because this is very much like Miami. You have them under control, you have them under control, and like you just said, their last 4 drives went touchdown, field goal, touchdown. That was their last 4 drives. And they got a field goal to force overtime, and they got a touchdown to win the game. So it's everything, but it's Patrick Mahomes galvanizing everybody like Steve would do with you guys and like Joe did. That's why we talk about these games and we say it's tough to beat the Chiefs, because Mahomes just does this. Like Joe did it, like Steve did it, like Brady did it. This is the modern-day 28-year-old guy, and you just said we might be watching the best of all time. And I know 49ers don't want to hear that, but that's the deal. Brock is a really nice quarterback, but he needs a lot of people around him that are helping him out. Mahomes can just galvanize guys on the sidelines and make silly wizardly plays, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And you combine that with Andy Reid and the way that he calls plays and gets guys open, and it's just a really tough combination to start. The defense played well enough to win, but in the fourth quarter and in the overtime, clearly they didn't, because they started to figure everything out. So anyway, 25-22. Let's continue to go out there and make people feel better. Hopefully, Joe is in Clayton. Hi, Joe. Welcome.
Get me out of this state, man.
Give me that donut and
get the hell out of this state.
I know you have a flask somewhere on you. It's our good friend Will Gavin. He called the
What's
game.
in those water bottles, bro?
Yeah, there might be something.
Just water? Yeah, sure, bro.
That was good. All right, do we have Joe? Hi, Joe.
Leave these scoreboards on? Turn this
Yes.
off.
I go right ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, go right
We got
ahead.
you, Joe. What's up, dude?
First off, well, tough loss, great season for 2 teams to get to that pinnacle through all the challenges of the playoffs was quite amazing. I would agree the defense played very well, played very cerebral and moxie tonight. There were injuries too amidst the penalties. Personally, I think, as alluded to earlier, McCaffrey, looking back, I know we could overthink it, but he's such a strong kid. I think having him. Are you there?
Yeah, dude, we weren't really. We weren't really.
No,
honestly, dude, I'm distracted.
No, go right ahead.
Go ahead, y'all. McCaffrey, what were you saying?
I apologize. Yeah, I was just
you're
thinking, when you're down on the 9-yard line, you got to give it to McCaffrey. Honestly, he's so strong, Offensive Player of the Year. I would have been more happy with that, with the turnover and possession. But one of the things that stands out, I'm a Catholic educator, was Kelce's display with his coach. I get competitive fire, but as a professional, you do that on the field with a referee, you're out of the game, correct?
Yeah, but I think what he was doing there, and thanks for the call, we appreciate it. What he was doing there is he had 1 catch for 1 yard in the first half, and he knows he's a big part of the game plan, and they're not getting the ball, and he lost his mind in his coach, and it's the Super Bowl. In the second half, he had 8 catches for 92 yards. So he screamed at Andy Reid, it must have worked, because he was 1 for 1 in the first half. He was 8 for 92 in the second. So whatever he did worked.
Yeah, and he opened up the offense too in that second half, because when he's like a George Kittle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the ball, and you talk about yak yards, and he runs so hard. And they really started attacking the middle of the 49ers defense in that second half, and Kelce was a big part of it.
Well, and one thing we haven't even talked about today, and we'll get back out to the phone lines again, 808 KNBR, 808-5627, whether you want to hit us up on the text line or call, as the 49ers lose the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas, 25-22.
Oh, you said it.
Dre Greenlaw, one of the weirdest injuries I've ever seen. He goes running on the field to go play defense, and he tears his Achilles, and that means he's out maybe next year too. He was in a cast on the sidelines. Ever seen a guy run on the field and tear his Achilles? And then if you're Kansas City, and we talked about this before the game, if you have a weakness on defense, Andy Reid is going to just stick it to you. Well, Oren Burks, I mean, I can count at least 3 off the top of my head where he just Travis Kelce just roasted him in the second half. So you think that, it made a difference that Dre Greenlaw wasn't in there? Well, Travis Kelce had 1 for 1, and then he had 8 for 92. And I'm not saying that Greenlaw is going to cover him every time, but Greenlaw is a hell of a linebacker. And so nothing against Flanagan Fowles or Oren Burks, but they're not Dre Greenlaw.
I mean, that's again, I don't want to project what's going to happen with it, but that's a huge, massive, devastating injury, not just to a defense, to a player, and for him, his well-being in his career. He's a guy who plays with his hair on fire. I mean, he's a rocket out there. He's a missile.
He's a tone setter.
It made it, not that it was easy to let Azeez Al-Shire leave, but having Dre Greenlaw in-house here made that a palatable, I think, decision last offseason. There are decisions that are going to have to be made, and I hate even having to bring my mind to that at this point because we're still, the body's still warm. You know what I mean? Right now, we're sitting here, the champion thing is still on the scoreboard. Like, they're going to have to talk about Brandon Ayuk. They're going to have to talk about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to start planning for Brock Purdy beyond next season. They're going to have to start figuring out how all of this is going to align, and they still don't have one under their belt. I mean, this is a devastating loss for this organization, especially for where they stand as a roster and what this team is capable of doing and where they've finished in the last couple of years.
And, a lot of teams don't have championships because of superstars. You know how many guys Jordan denied of championships? You know how many people...
Carmelo Malone never got one.
Right. That Montana denied of championships. It's just you get in a certain era of Brady denied of championships because you get in a certain era against those type of players, generational players, and they take all the championships. No, it's all mine. They take like if you grew up with brothers, and you're the last one to get.
We
some
might
food,
be looking at it.
They ate all the food and you had scraps.
We might be watching.
And it's like you said. And today, for the majority of the game, just like in Super Bowl 54, the defense played well enough when we sat on all the shows all week long and said, can the defense hold up? It could have if the offense could have got going, but you do have to give Kansas City some credit. But then again, when you make the mistakes, the penalties, the McCaffrey fumble, the Ray fumble, they're too good of a team to overcome those mistakes.
Yeah, and I didn't see the Dre Greenlaw injury, but I looked up and he was out the football game. And then I was thinking, who's going to cover that tight end? I didn't see it happen. Did you guys see it happen?
Yeah.
He literally running on the
He literally kind of did a hop skip. He literally did like a hop skip to jump on the sideline to run on the field with his teammates.
And
it
went
popped
down.
it.
Yep.
And that popped it. So, anyway, all right, we'll get back out of the phone lines. A bunch of people on the phone lines that want to discuss the game, 25-22, whatever angle you want to take on it is fine. And we got the text line open as well. 808-KNBR, 415-808-5627. More from Vegas. The 49ers denied their sixth, 25-22 here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, only here on the Sports Leader.
I think having him... Are you there?
I don't know if it's worse. Give me a couple days. But I know that we still have a talented team. We still have guys. We still have a great foundation. So the only answer is go back to work.
There's George Kittle. The same thing he said in 2019. It's got to be tough right after the game. 25-22, the 49ers lose in Las Vegas. John Lund, Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion Dennis Brown. The phone lines are open at 415-808-5627, 415-808-KNBR. Before we get to that, protecting the quarterback, sponsored by our good friends at the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department. That is right. Protect your community and apply for your new career in law enforcement at cocosheriff.org today. That's cocosheriff.org. And by our good friends at Bay Alarm. Worry less about your people and your property with Bay Alarm at bayalarm.com. I thought they protected the quarterback, and the 49ers got to Mahomes 3 times and harassed him a bunch.
I thought they did a great job early on, dude.
I thought they did well.
You see, what did Chase Young end up with? 2 sacks, 2.5 sacks.
Well, he got the 1, but then he forced the grounding call, too. He was good in the first half.
Right. He played well. I think the 49ers front 4, just didn't get home on the blitzes, though. There was a time when the 49ers got home on blitzes. When Fred Warner came, from his backer position, he would get home. He'd get some hits on the quarterback. Haven't seen that in a while. I think the 49ers offensive line, I think they protected Purdy well. How many sacks? Was there any sacks tonight?
They got 1.
1 sack.
But they did, but you're right. It was the pressure on those 3rd and longs where, again, Steve Spagnuolo was smart.
He'll blitz corners.
He brought up safety. Reed was coming a lot. And then they combined that with an official that allows, and I'm not saying the officiating was bad today because I don't think it was. But it was a crew that allowed physical play. So what those corners did was they stayed right up on the receivers. Brandon Ayuk didn't have a big game. Debo didn't have a big game. Kittle obviously didn't have a big game. They jammed those guys at the line, comboed it with the blitz, and Brock Purdy had to get rid of the ball a lot of times quickly, and he had a few balls batted down as well. So that's not a good combination.
No, I'm with you on that. I just think Spagnuolo, man, what's he got, 3 rings now?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a case for this guy's a D coordinator going to the Hall of Fame at some point. We're talking about, again, John, you were just making the case for their generational players and teams that sometimes hog an entire era of championships. The NBA, we don't see it happen quite as much, even though Kobe gets 5, right? It's like he does it over the course of a time where what's his name? Tim Duncan gets 5, right, in the same time. LeBron James is getting numerous rings. Steph Curry then gets multiple while there's still other eras and generational stars getting there. So in football, though, I feel like because the quarterback position is the most important in all of sports, it's not just a feeling. We've watched it happen. We watched it happen with Joe.
Yep.
We watched it happen then even in smaller increments of time with the Cowboys and Troy Aikman. You've seen it happen with guys like Tom Brady who've done it in a greater span than anybody else has ever done it. But we're looking at it again right now. Is this 3 and 5 now for this guy?
Yeah, and
this is blanket unreal, man.
Well, and
this is
what you just talked about.
And he's young. He's a young dude.
But there are certain guys who we can count on, one hand that when you go up against them and when you give them too many opportunities, which is what they did, and you say, hey, basically in this overtime, the way things are, the clock doesn't matter at all. So here's an opportunity. We just kicked a field goal. Here, you take the ball, and you don't have. There's no time constrictions on you because of this new rule. So he has all the time in the world as long as they keep possessing the ball, and you can score a touchdown. Wow. That's what he's going to do. Those kind of players do that.
And the clock is still up. The score's up. Overtime, 3 seconds. That 3 seconds expires. What do? You flip the field?
It becomes another quarter. You flip the field, and it's quarter 2. It's just like a new game. It's just like you basically play quarter number 1.
It was double overtime. And if they kick a field goal, things keep going.
Right.
If they score a touchdown, they win. If they don't score, obviously you win.
Just keep playing like it's a new quarter every time.
All right, let's jump out to the lines. Let's see. Steve is in Bend. Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Guys, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Chase Young played like we thought he would play. Like we knew what he. You know what I'm saying? He played like we know who we thought he was. Thank you. And he sealed off the edge. He didn't let Pacheco get around him. He played a great game.
That's
and then Carlson, boy, we got to re-sign him. That guy is an animal. Am I saying the right guy? The guy that subs for Tebow? Carlson?
That was Ray.
Are you talking about Chris Conley?
Yeah, Conley.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Had their first down of the game. Yeah, on that out pattern. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Great guy.
Yeah. So
he had the ball. He downed the ball at the 1 yard line.
He'll catch one big pass a game. Yeah.
But he was a special teams guy.
Yeah, he was. He made a huge tackle in it.
Yeah, he smoked a punt returner.
till the punt special teams was. By the way, till that moment with Ray, the special teams I thought they played incredibly.
Yeah, Conley,
they were pinning guys deep.
Pinned him down to the 1 yard
that was a
line.
good one. Yeah.
Look, he
Good
played
call.
well. Good point. What else you got? Oh, okay.
Bye, Steve.
He put. By the way, he just so that he says this. He said Moody cost us, and if people have that thought, if Moody makes the extra point, it's 17-13 instead of 16-13. And when the Chiefs were driving down there, they probably go for it on 4th and 3. Now, maybe they make it, and it's 20-17, or maybe they miss it, and then the 49ers have a 17-13 lead in the ball. So I get what people are saying, but Andy Reid kicked that field goal at the end to tie it at 16 because it would tie the game. If it was 17-13, they would have went for it on 4th down. So I understand people saying that he cost them. I get it. But he also
the sliding doors of that. We don't know what the dominoes. It changes. It changes everything. Right.
And again, I'm not in favor of taking him in the 3rd round. But he kicked a 55-yarder, which at the time, until Butker came back, he kicked a 57, was the longest in Super Bowl history. And he hit a 55 and a 52. He got an extra point blocked. I get it, but I don't think the extra
and that's
point
not his fault.
The game. It didn't determine
extra
the game.
point is not his fault. I mean, if you look at that line, they got penetration, got their hands up. I mean, that's your protection team. You got to keep the hands down, hit people, chop them down. So that's not his fault. But he made 2 very crucial field goals in this football game, long field goals.
Yeah. Because if he doesn't make the one, then they probably lose.
How long was the first? 55?
Yeah, the first one was 55.
By the way, the first one at the time for about a quarter was the longest field goal made in the history of the Super Bowl.
So he hit a 55 and a 53.
And then Butker hits the 57, which then becomes the longest. They were both, by the way, the longest attempted field goals, I believe, in the history of the Super Bowl. Real quick, we had a texter here on the YouTube chat here. We are streaming twitch.tv/esportsleader, still live here from Allegiant Stadium following this dog-s Super Bowl 58. I hate it. I hate it all, Dennis.
I think you've made that point.
Yeah, one of our texters texted in or here on the YouTube chat said it's Tran Nguyen says, "Hey, who won the MVP?" I turned the TV off, and I'm only reading this because I legitimately don't know. I walked out second of the game, and I was screw this.
I don't even think they have to announce it when Patrick
was it Mahomes?
Yeah,
I assume it was Mahomes. I thought Kelce had a big second half. Thought it could have been him
when he let him down the field. I think the NFL would call Kelce the MVP because when the numbers come out, the demo is going to be a little bit different than what it's been. I mean, it's going to be a lot of men, but I bet she made people some money.
Yeah.
She got booed, by the way, early and often. Whenever they showed
she was playing like beer drinking games, so she's just like us, I guess.
Yeah, she's not. She was doing a show in like Japan yesterday.
No, she's not.
She's not. Like, everyone's like, I can't believe she flew here for the game. I was like, I can. There's one thing. There's an international date line.
Have you seen her?
Ever heard of it, Dennis? Second of all, Dennis, I don't think Taylor Swift travels like we travel.
No,
I don't think she travels like the Chiefs travel.
Yeah.
She slept in a bed bigger than the one I've slept in for a night. Get me out of this damn town, Dennis. I want to go home.
Only
Sick
8
of
days.
this place.
Only 8 days.
9. I'm waking up on day 10 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm ready to go.
All right, Casey's in Arizona. Hi, Casey. Welcome.
Gotta have a bowl at least.
Hey, Casey.
Hey, thank you. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, this is I hate to say it, but we have supposedly a genius at coaching. And I hate to agree with the national broadcaster, Tony Romo, but that 21 personnel, as they came out they were moving the ball. Third quarter, the reasons why we punt the ball, like 3 possessions, was because we were trying to get the ball, trying to pass the ball. Well, we have Christian McCaffrey, use check in the backfield. Keep him guessing. Dennis knows this. He's a lineman, right? Either side. If you're an offensive lineman, and if you get gut punch every time, if you run the ball and get 5 yards a pop, that's a gut punch. And we just went away from that. That was a big one. And my second point is we should have called a timeout at that end of the game. We should have called a timeout. Obviously, those special teams play that was devastating. But Shanahan just can't seem to get out of his way at play calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Casey. Appreciate it. That's going to be look. What the national narrative will be tomorrow, I can guarantee you on the talk shows, on the talking head shows, they're going to go back to Kyle being up 23. They're going to go back to the Philly game. They're going to go back to Jaworski Tart dropping the ball. They're going to go back to Miami. They're going to go to this game, and it's going to be Kyle can't win the big one. Kyle can't win the big one. Kyle can't win the big one. That's going to be on him.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's too bad because, I think he's a fantastic head coach. I don't know how those decisions are made on the field like that, but it just – everyone, every 49er fan was wondering why would you take the ball when you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side. So what is this, the third Super Bowl that Kyle has kind of lost in the end of the football game? So, we talked about it before the game even started. It becomes kind of your tagline, right? You can't win the big game. So – you got to get over that hump, and he's got the guys. In the NFL, it's hard to keep teams together. Teams break up, guys go other places. But if you have these core folks, and I think the 49ers have the core people right now. If you got a quarterback, you got the best running back in the National Football League. You got a good solid defense, so you build on that. And you get another opportunity to do it. But right now, Kyle's going to have that tag on him that he can't win the big game because he's lost 3 now and late in the football games.
Yeah, again, this is also raw. There's so many different things we can look at. Christian McCaffrey doesn't fumble on the opening drive. What happens in the game, right? We can
Trey Greenlaw doesn't get.
We can if it into oblivion. And the one thing I'll say is I'm a defender of Kyle frequently because I agree. He's in the time I've been a 49er fan in my 34 years or 30 going on 35, he's one of, if not the best coach the Niners have ever had. In the time that I've been here or that I've been a fan. So I have a tough time with he's a so-called genius. Dude, let's stop with that. There's that. If you can do what Kyle's doing and at the level and at the rate, there is no other coach in the NFL with the success that Kyle Shanahan has had in the time that he's been the 49er head coach other than the man he's lost to twice in the Super Bowl now in Andy Reid. He's been to 3 straight. Yeah. Look, there are going to be, every time a team loses and loses like this, Dennis, they're going to pick apart a play call or what decision was made at the end of a game. You can't argue that he hasn't won the big one, and that's always the mantra with somebody who doesn't win the big one. Until you get it done, but Doug Peterson can win the big. It's come on, man. Are we saying that this guy then is he's not a worse coach than guys who necessarily have won? The same as Trent Dilfer is not necessarily a better quarterback than Dan Marino because he didn't win a Super Bowl. There's so many factors that go into it. There's so many things with this game I think that we're going to pull apart and dissect. The Moody thing was
because it's like we said,
it's a Super Bowl loss.
So
we said it before the game.
It's going to be 47. It's going to be 54. We'll talk about it forever.
Yeah, and like we talked about it. When you lose the big game, that's what happens, right? Until you win the big game,
right?
You will never.
Andy Reid was this guy too,
right?
He won the 5 NFC championships and didn't win one.
And now he's, we're talking Hall of Fame.
And all of a sudden it's
now he's the greatest coach in the league.
Yeah. But look, that's how it goes. When Phil Jackson had Jordan, he was great. When Phil Jackson had Kobe and Shaq, he was great. Players play. I don't think Kyle Shanahan told CMC to fumble on the first drive. I don't think he told Ray to try to pick the ball up. That if it was hit on his ankle, then you dive on the ball.
Man. Yeah.
Look, you've also got to understand too that they have play calls, and Brock Purdy can get them out of play calls when they when they walk up both safeties. And they've got opportunities to go one-on-one on the edges. I'm sure that you go out of one play and go to another one because they're daring you to run the football. By the way, Christian McCaffrey touched the ball 30 times, man. He had 22 carries and 8 receptions. I understand that when it overtime, that was only one extra possession. He touched it 30 times. That's
the recipe to win.
What's Kyle's record when he runs the ball 30 times?
Like a gazillion and 4 or something like that.
Tack one more on.
It's
31 right.
It is what it is, and I get the frustration because fans don't want to blame their guys, but the reality of it is, as good as Christian McCaffrey was, the fumble was a killer.
Yep.
And
he was carrying the ball low. Yeah. It was not a good play.
If you go up 7-0 there, and the defense is playing the way it's playing, tack on 7 at halftime, and it's 17-3. So, look, players lost this game tonight. In my opinion, people can disagree, and that's totally fine, but players lost the game. That's just what they did. McCole Hardman was walked into the end zone wide open. Great play design by Andy Reid, but somebody blew an assignment there. Brock Purdy
execution
down the right side had Deebo Samuel wide open on a blown coverage. Saw him late and overthrew him in the end zone. That's on Brock Purdy. That's a touchdown. You got to make those plays against one of the best quarterbacks. We don't even have to wait and quantify or qualify anything. He's only 28. He's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. You don't get extra chances.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they gave it to him.
Yeah. You give Patrick Mahomes an opportunity. And my buddy, I said to him on the phone after the game, I was like, dude, he's like the best ever. He goes, I'm not willing to put him above Brady. I said, you don't think Brady would have done that today? That's what the greats do. That's what the all-time greats do. This guy's got 3 bowls.
What's the narrative going to be on Brock Purdy now?
Oh, jeez, dude, I don't want to.
I mean, is it?
I don't think it's his
it ain't
fault.
changing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't
I don't think it was his fault today.
He played really well in the first half too.
Yes.
A sharp game.
Yes.
He made some plays, but again, I think you got to give. We're loath to do this as fans, but Kansas City's defense played really well, and their defensive coordinator did out-scheme Kyle. But they got themselves with holding penalties and play calls for negative yards. Again, I already read them off. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. They were 3 for 12 on 3rd down, and the majority were 3rd and longs. For a defensive coordinator, again, I'll defer to you, Dennis. For a defensive coordinator, you give me 3rd and 10. There's about a little bit in the playbook, and there's a lot in the defensive playbook, and basically it says blitz and hold the receivers.
Yep. Redirect the receivers. Yep.
And that's what they did.
Yep.
So, give them credit.
We're still live here from Allegiant Stadium following the 49er loss 25-22 in Super Bowl 58, yet again at the hands of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. We got plenty more to come here. 415-808-5627, 808-KNBR is the number to call and the number to text. I just pulled up the text line here. We got that open. I see you guys, JC, Mike, Dave, Mark, Connor, and Mort. We'll get to all you guys hanging on the line there. It's the I guess it's the Super Bowl 58 postgame show, dude.
We got to do something to cheer up Coach,
so
man.
bad, dude.
Me and Dennis have been through this, man. We did this.
He needs one of these. Oh, jeez.
All right, more from Vegas. It's your Super Bowl 58 postgame show live from Allegiant Stadium on the Sports Center.
I'm always motivated. Right now it just stings, but it's life, man. Life's tough, and bad things happen, and it's all about how you respond. But right now, it sucks.
25-22. That is Christian McCaffrey at 30 touches, including 22 carries, 8 receptions, rest for 80.
Touched about 20 times? 30 times? What is it, 20 times?
Touched it 30 times.
30 times, 22 carries.
on the ground, 8 through the air, and the 49ers lose it 25.
I would have bet the house that if I knew McCaffrey touched it 30 times, the Niners were going to win by like double digits.
That was the exact number I used before the game. I go, if McCaffrey touches it, that's my golden touch. I said if McCaffrey touches it 30 times, they'll win.
What was it? What from scrimmage? I mean, all-purpose yards. What did he have?
Let me look here.
160.
He had 80 rushing yards.
Yeah, 80 rushing and 80 receiving. 160.
There we go. 160.
So that ain't bad.
That's the recipe to win football games.
Yeah. But he fumbled. Yeah, that was a painful.
Maybe we should make that the stat of the game. What do you think, John?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me pull this up real quick here.
49ers fall to the Kansas City Chiefs 25-22 here at Allegiant Stadium. Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion, Dennis Brown, John Lund with you, sitting in. Staring at. I can't believe they do this when when the team wins, they're not even here anymore. They're at a club somewhere on the strip, and do they have they leave? Why do they leave this stupid scoreboard with the champions thing with the logo and this trophy?
This happened to me here. This happened in Miami. This happened to me in L.A.
You start cleaning up the confetti whenever you want.
I was in SoFi, and it just said NFC champions, and I just sat there. Miami, this happened. This happened.
It's awful.
Yeah, we don't like this stuff.
God, awful.
What's my read again? Tell me again.
It's stat of the game.
Oh, stat.
Christian McCaffrey did, by the way, touch the ball 30 times today. 22 carries, 8 catches. He was 80 receiving yards, 80 on the ground. And by the way, Niners did not have as good of a yards per carry average as the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Why did Danny text me that? Or is that just an old text?
Yeah, we already did that. So.
Hey, the stat of the game was done 45 minutes ago. And it was sponsored by
I was like, wait a minute, man. I know I did this.
How's this for a note? I said this to Dennis during the break. I said, and I've been talking about this. I said to you guys in the pregame, if you're my age, 35 or so, that's the hungriest sports fan in the Bay Area right now. You've seen the Giants win. Nobody had seen the Giants win. If your parents or grandparents, whoever, they got their 3, right? The 3 and 5. The Warriors, nobody ever thought they were going to be relevant. Right. I think when they won 4 titles, and maybe they're back from the dead after what we saw the other night against Phoenix. Now all of a sudden, the 49ers, who were the team of the decade in the 80s. I was born in 89. They win when I'm 10 months old. They win when I'm 5. They've now lost more Super Bowls in my lifetime than they've won. 3 in a row now this franchise has lost, and 3 in pretty devastating fashion. Not any one of those was an easy loss to take. End of the football game, goal line type stuff, final scores, not getting a stop. It is it's I don't think I like the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Well,
Dennis, that was the thing where
Dennis and I covered all 3.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying though. But it's not why
this is my third of those 3.
I'm not really a Super Bowl guy anymore. I don't think.
And you said it. I mean, your lifetime, the 49ers, and since I've been a 49er fan, coming here in 1990, they're 5-0 in the Super. I mean, that was what you expected. You get to
you
the
showed
Super
up
Bowl,
and expected to win.
Yeah, you always did. I mean, when I got here, it was back-to-back Super Bowls. And then we got back in 94, 95. But being in this organization and being in the media, I've seen 3 losses now. Bad losses. I mean, not blowouts, close football games, and just like you said, in the fourth quarter, not stopping.
Goal line in New Orleans.
I mean, it's so.
The one in New Orleans doesn't sting me. They got their asses kicked the whole game, and then they came back. And that goal line, it does hurt, but they were getting their butts kicked. In Miami, they were the better team for the majority of the game, and this game they were the better team for the majority of the game, but 15 pulled them both out.
Yeah.
And those, so 54 and 58 really stink.
And what's Mahomes' record now against the 49ers? What
good.
Is it? It's very good.
What is it against everybody, dude? It's good against. He doesn't have a losing record against
modern day Brady.
Yeah. And we talked.
Really
he lost to Brady in the Bullets. His only loss in the Bullets to Tom Brady.
In the beginning of the season, we were like, Kansas City's not the same team. I mean, they don't have the weapons. Mahomes is not putting up the crazy numbers but here he is. Now he's a
down
champion
year,
again.
right?
Yeah,
down year.
All right, let's jump out to the lines. We got to get out to Connor in Dublin because it just says right here, it hurts bad. So let's see if we can help him. Hi, Connor. Welcome.
Hey, man. How's it going?
What is this, Copeland? What are you throwing your voice here?
What's up, dude?
Come on, we got to help you, man. Tell us what's
No, you can't help me. I mean, unless you can go back in time and slap that ball out of Hardman's hands, then that'd be great.
Yeah,
But
right.
no, you can't help out, man. I'm sorry, dude. I'm going to be sad, and it is what it is. But, I mean, this hurts. We had an interception right at the second half, and we go 3 and out. And what hurts me the most is that that missed extra point. Because if Rudy hit that, we would not be going into overtime, and this would have been over long ago. And we would be sitting here having a cheery time. But,
dude, we got to get you
happened.
in a better mood, man. You're in a better place. You're in a bad place. What can we do here? I know it'll dissipate. Like everything in life, it will dissipate. So what is it going to take? What is it going to take, huh? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to get to a better place here? What do you got?
I don't know. It'll go away.
All right.
I appreciate the help.
Yeah.
But
we're trying to help.
This is how it's going to be. And I'm going to have to get over it, and it's going to be tough.
Hey, you know what, Connor? We should have to look at Brittany Mahomes for like another 3 or 4 months, right? You have to deal with that,
Or
right?
Taylor
That's good.
Swift. So
Yeah, dude.
nice.
Yeah, see, look at us, dude. Look at us. Look at us looking at the bright side. Huh? Who'd have thought?
At least, hey, wait, hold
John,
on,
stay
hold
out
on.
of this, John.
I won some money out of this.
Okay, I don't want to know. I don't want to. Okay. Was it a night or prop?
No, so I betted with my neighbor that they would show Taylor Swift 9 times. They showed her exactly 9 times, and I
What'd
get
you get
$5 out of this.
Okay, I'll
$5.
take $5.
There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I'll take
It's
$5.
looking up, Connor.
Yeah, I hope you feel better, man.
Hey man, thank you so much. Hey guys, have a great night.
All right.
Jeez, man. It was like your brother there. He was like, hello.
You haven't even said you hope I feel. John, you haven't even said you hope I feel better.
I know what you're going to do tonight, though. The only
You gonna do it with me?
grace for us
You gonna do it with me?
is that you're in Las Vegas, and I know that Dennis already said this because we've got to walk back, and then you got to go through the casino up to your room.
I'll catch a wind. Watch.
And I've tried,
I'll catch a wind, John.
I've always tried, but it's almost like this imaginary thing is there, and it just, what do you think you're doing going through the casino? It just pulls you right back in, and then, and there you go.
Just what I thought it was.
Exactly. So
The Luxor pulls me back in.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
the hell, bro?
I was like, does that crap table have my name printed on the felt? What's that say? Does that say "Come Adam" right there? Does that say?
Don't you want to feel better, Copes?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's go out to Mike next in Eugene. He says, Kyle blew it.
You blew it.
What's going on, Mike? Welcome.
Oh, God. You know what, guys, man? I was swearing so much at the end of the game, so much foul stuff came out of my mouth, including my lunch. I tossed my lunch. I turned off everything. I went in, took a hot shower, and then I decided to call you guys.
Okay, good. See, you're being
Did you know we were on the air, or did you just call? Did you know we were on, or you just going to see what happens? Just give it a call, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to call you anyway. You know that, Coach.
Go get it. Attaboy, Mike. All right.
Come on, brother. No, so here's the thing. First of all, I want to thank the team. They gave us a hell of a ride, cardiac arrest. I mean, the whole year, from Brock, his drama, everybody hating him, McCaffrey winning the player of the year, and, all that stuff, right? But, I got to tell you, man, they didn't execute well. But at the third quarter, man, I'm telling you, they get a stop on the Chiefs, and what do? Pass. Are you kidding? I'm sorry, man. Run the frickin' rock. And you had Mitchell. He had some good fire in him too. Yeah, I was just blown away. I was just, I'm upset, man. It's just wrong.
Thank you.
So
yeah. We just want to make you feel better, man.
Dude, let it out, man. Yeah. You got hate in your heart. Let it out, bro.
Yeah, well, it's right out, so it's all good.
Pain. Let it out, bro. Appreciate the call, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, dude. Again, I'm not big on the Kyle Blewett thing. Dude, they lost this game, man. You can't put it all on one guy, I don't feel like, when it's a coach like that. And you just said it, John. Dennis, you talked about it. Players make plays, man. We can't give them all the credit in the world when they get it done. They're in the Super Bowl for the second time in the last handful of years. No other team has done that, with the exception of Kansas City, who continues to be the most dominant team in football with the best coach, the best quarterback, a Hall of Fame tight end. That defense now is the best they've had. Now, they've got work they've got to do. I mean, that defense isn't going to look the same next year. But they've drafted incredibly well. So Niners have to go back to the drawing board, man. I mean, the work that John Lynch has done in each offseason that he's been here, an incredibly aggressive general manager. Kyle and he, I think I would imagine more extensions coming for those guys at some point in the future. Again, culture and sustainability are something that owners, especially in pro football, covet and they chase both on a roster with a quarterback and with a head coach and a GM. The fact that the Niners have this momentum going, again, this is a horrible, horrible loss yet again for this team. But, Dennis, I mean, this is you show me another organization that doesn't want the situation the 49ers are in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great situation to be in. I mean, like I said,
maybe not Kansas City. They're probably they're probably stoked about their situation.
You've got it better, yeah. So, I mean, but you got a good foundation, and you've got some of the key parts. You have the quarterback, you have a running back, and you got a defense. You got a good secondary. You got a good defensive front. Now, you said it. John Lynch is very aggressive, and he's going to go out, and they've drafted well. So he's going to go. He's going to find some guys to fit in some spots. You just got to get over this hump. You're going to have another opportunity. You got the same coach. You got a lot of, like I said, a lot of the base guys, the core guys on this football team. You're going to have an opportunity again, Chip, and you got to just put the work. And think about the NFL. Next year it starts all over again. You get an opportunity to do it again. So it depends on these guys are going to stay together. I like I said, it's tough to keep guys on one football team, but I think the guys that you have here, they're going to be here next season. You get an opportunity to try to do it again, and you go get some pieces, but you got to execute. You get the opportunity, you got to execute on all levels. Special teams, defense, and in coaching. I mean, you got to make the right decision. So you get an opportunity to give another shot at it.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. 25-22 at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. John Lund, Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion Dennis Brown. Dennis, what was it like to win a Super Bowl? We'll continue the conversation.
It felt a lot different than this.
You think you're better than us, huh, Dennis? Huh?
You
think you're better than us?
A bunch of calls out there. A bunch of texts out there as well. Give us your thoughts if we can make you feel better, and if you can definitely make Copes feel better, please.
You can't.
Let us know. Jump on the line, 808 KNBR. We'll continue next. The Niners lose the Super Bowl 25-22 on the air on the Sports Leader.
I'm sick to my stomach. I'm still sick. I see him at halftime, and I'm crying because I'm so hurt for him, and obviously wanted to win this for him, and sickening.
That is Fred Warner on Dre Greenlaw, one of the strangest plays you're ever going to see. In the second quarter, the defense is getting ready to run on the field. He kind of does a little bit of hop skip, and then like he's going to run on the field, and then he goes down on a roll. And as Kyle Shanahan confirmed in the postgame, Dre Greenlaw has torn his Achilles, probably right now the worst injury in sports, and he's going to have to rehab that. He'll probably miss a lot, if not all, of next season as well. So I'll keep you up to date on Dre Greenlaw. But Kyle Shanahan in the postgame after the 25-22 loss here in Las Vegas in the Super Bowl did confirm that it's a torn Achilles for Drake Greenlaw. Let's give you the player post-game interview, sponsored by our good friends at the Hanlery Hotel, the Hanlery Square Hotel, San Francisco's oldest family hotel, and also sponsored by Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We'll have about 55 of those when we get out of here in Las Vegas. But here is always cheery, well, not so much this time, Brock Purdy after the game.
Yeah, I mean, they brought 0 and was trying to get the ball to JJ. That's what was hurting me, just knowing that, yeah, we're going to execute the field goal, trusting Jake and all the guys on special teams, but obviously their offense is really good. Mahomes is really good, and you just don't want to give him an opportunity, to go down and win the game off a touchdown. So when I wasn't able to connect with him, it hurt. So, yeah. Man, it was just tough. I feel like first and second down was tough. I feel like it was like third and long. I have to be better on first and second down, taking what they have given me, and I feel like they were just sticky across the board when they played man coverage and stuff. So that was another challenge. And then, yeah, so I just feel like on third down, we have to execute better. For our defense to give us that many stops like they did, and then for us to go 3 and out and not do anything with those opportunities, that's what hurts me. So.
There aren't that many words that help at this time. You kind of just got to sit with it and experience that. But what did you guys say to each other when you first went into the locker room?
I mean, a lot of guys are quiet, and a lot of guys are still quiet right now. Not a lot has been said. It just hurts. We have the team obviously to do it, to win the whole thing, and come up short like that. The way things have been the last couple of years here, everyone wanted it so bad. So I think we're still trying to sort of gather, our thoughts and everything right now. But everyone in that locker room loves each other, I'll tell you that.
All week you talked about touchdowns, not field goals. Is that what it came down to?
Yeah, I think so. When you have a good offense like the Chiefs do, and what Mahomes can do, for us it's like, all right, we have to, score touchdowns, and we had opportunities to do so. I think shot ourselves in the foot with just penalties and the operations and stuff. So I got to be better in terms of leading the guys and just I think how I handle things in the huddle and telling them what to expect, stuff like that. So. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think we had the team, the offense to score touchdowns, and I think I failed to put our team in position to do that.
What do you think what attributed that start to you?
Did you say it again? Sorry.
Slow start to the second half. What attributed it to that?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not gonna lie. I think first and second down we just got to be better. You get into these third and longs, and it's tough to convert in those kind of situations, and so just got to be better. I think first and second down. There was just a couple plays where I feel like defense, got the stops like they needed to, and then our first couple plays were just either negative or we're not moving the ball. So it's as simple as that.
How much do you swing past to Kittle? Is there any conversation about going for on fourth down again on overtime as a result of that success previously?
I don't think so. In that moment in overtime, it was pretty, I think, quick. Just all right, we came down here and let's get points, kick a field goal, and then trust our defense to do what they can do. And so that's where our mindset was at. I think earlier in the game, it was like, all right, we needed it. We needed to score in that moment, and so we were aggressive with it and went for it. So.
Brock, how much do you hurt for Kyle, who's had his share of Super Bowls?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sucks, man. You want to win it for that kind of guy, and he's a great coach. Everybody wants to go to war with that guy. The way he handles himself and carries himself, we want to win for him. And obviously the older guys, the vets, Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, all the guys that have been through it, man, you want to win for them. So, but it starts with coach, man. That's who I hurt for, and I hurt for all the other guys, our whole team. What we've been through the last year hasn't been easy, and for it to go like that, where it's close at the end, and it's tough, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. No, they're celebrating, and
What did you think of Patrick's performance and just watching him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the best to ever do it, honestly. Makes plays, and obviously he's got a great arm and stuff, but I just feel like, the way he moves and his pocket movement and being able to run the ball when his offense needed it. And more than anything, man, he's a competitor. And like we said going into this game, man, like you just don't want to let him have the ball, because he can obviously do a lot of damage with it, and so he's a baller.
As you become a veteran of this league, what do you think you can learn from this whole experience?
Yeah, man, the first thing that comes to mind is just like when you have an opportunity like we did, to really, put some points up on them and take it. You got to take it, man. It's a Super Bowl. We got a good team in the Chiefs on the other side, and I think we had opportunities to do that, and we all fell short of it, and I think that's what eats at me is I feel like we could have we had our opportunities, man, to, I think, sort of lap them and get up on them, and I think we failed to do that. So moving forward with my career, and if you get blessed enough to get in this kind of position again, I think you have to understand that, and learn the hard way.
A couple more guys. Told you that you would have held them to 19 in regulation. Would you feel pretty good about your chances?
I mean, yeah, but for us, it's whatever kind of game we need to do as an offense. Like we're willing to do it. So if it's a shootout, we're willing to do that. If we got to protect the ball and trust in our defense, we're willing to do that too. So, yeah.
Brock, was there anything differently that the Chiefs did on defense that you saw in this game versus what you were preparing this?
I feel like they played a little bit more man than we thought. We just didn't know exactly how they were going to play us, and we thought maybe just play zone, two-show, like a lot of teams do. But, they did a good job, I think, of stopping the run when they needed to, and then man up, and they did their job on third downs. So I think they did a pretty good job of playing man. So, yeah.
Brock, Carl said that you'll be back next season. Do you think you can go more this time?
Yes, 100%. I mean, that's the mindset every year. I think we have the team to do it. That's what's tough about all this, man. Is it's a long season, and there's a lot of stuff that you go through, and but at the end of the day, we all have the mindset of being able to do it. So, yes.
All right, there you go. There is Brock Purdy on the game for Brock in a 25-22 loss to the Chiefs. He's 23 of 38, 255, a touchdown, an 89.3 rating. Brock Purdy, and there he is from the locker room. We'll give you more. We'll get out to the phone lines as well. 808 KNBR. If you got some things you need to get off your chest, and you probably do, 415-808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. We'll hit up the text line as well. We'll do it next from Las Vegas, only here on the Sports Theater.
that was speechless. I couldn't really look anybody in the eye, especially all my teammates. I could have done more. Everybody could have done more, and there's really not much to say at this point. It's going to hurt, and it's going to hit in waves, and but that's life.
That's life, bro. Let's hit the waves. Did he say let's hit the waves, or he said it's going to hit in waves?
In waves.
It's waves, bro.
He's probably saying let's hit the weights.
Yeah, that's probably what he's doing right now. He's probably lifting right now. Hey, Nick, the bus is leaving. Hold on, man. I got to get a workout in and get some protein going. 25-22, you laughing so you don't cry. 25-22, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. John Lund, Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion. Dennis Brown. Let's go to BJ in San Francisco. Hi, BJ. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I go back to Kezar Stadium. I got to see Wyatt Kittle for the first alley-oop to R.C. Owens.
Wow.
So I've watched these guys almost my whole life.
Didn't see three Super Bowl losses in a row,
Shanahan has
though.
a fatal flaw. He doesn't learn from his mistakes.
No.
And I'll give you a perfect example. In the second quarter, we got a turnover. We're in good position. 3 passes, 3 outs, they're out. He gets the ball back. 3 passes, 3 outs. They're out again. The guy doesn't learn. He doesn't learn.
He ran it 31 times. He ran it 31. Dude, he ran it. Hey, he ran it 31 times. He ran the ball 31 times, and McCaffrey touched it 30 times. How is that on Kyle Shanahan?
I guess he's gone.
Nah, yeah.
All right, thank you, BJ. Nothing?
Thanks, I guess. Yeah, I mean,
trying to make you feel better.
Tell me more about Kezar, please.
Let's go to Mark in Stockton. Hi, Mark.
I'm frustrated. I'm pissed,
Hi,
guys.
Mark. Welcome.
He's a little. Copes is a little.
I'm testy.
I love it. I love it. The passion, though.
I'm testy,
I
bro.
can dig the passion.
Look at these guys. We're all sitting out here on this. What are all these people doing here still?
No,
go
believe me,
away.
They don't go home. They're obviously Chiefs people, and they're just not going to go home ever until they're kicked
Sorry, let's
out.
go back to the phones.
Hi, Mark.
Give it another shot. Let's give it
another
another
shot.
shot.
We'll try again.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, Mark in Oakland? Is it me?
Looks like Mark in Stockton, but if you're in Oakland.
Oh, no, actually it's Oakland, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Same
Sorry.
thing.
Yeah, our guys back there are drunk.
Stockton and Oakland are pretty much the same. Yeah. Stockton's just harder. It's hotter.
You're in Oakley? Okay, Mark
Basically
in
the
Oakley.
same.
Oakley. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, not Oakley either. Oakland.
Oakland. Oh, Oakland. Okay.
Town. Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, we've been drinking all day. Go ahead.
That's all right. Me too. So I got some storm clouds, a quick analysis, and then some silver linings.
Sure.
Silver
Okay.
linings.
Great.
So my storm clouds, I was little when it was happening, but this kind of sort of was feeling like those Buffalo Bills early 90s teams where you keep getting there and losing. But then as I was sitting there thinking about it, I was all, no, they got blown out 3 to 4 times. At least we're in it, so it feels a little better. But I don't like this, obviously, that they're just losing every time. And that there's almost in the same mystique that, like, Mahomes and the Chiefs get, that they kind of pull it out. I feel like teams can get on this trajectory like the Niners might be right now, where it's like the opposite of mystique. You kind of don't pull it out, and that's a bummer. But that's the storm. The analysis, I do think this is on coaching, but I'm not upset with Shanahan. I don't want any other coach because, like anyone, he's human. But to not defer seemed like, come on, you defer. That's obvious. College football, think about it. It just seems too obvious. It's weird to me, like they overthought it. And also to not go for it down there. What would you take, 3 points and Mahomes with the ball on the 25 where a touchdown beats you, a field goal ties you, or no points, but Mahomes on his 9-yard line? I think if you're worried about Mahomes, you take every yard away from him you can. That's if we didn't get the touchdown, if we went for it on 4th and 9.
Yeah.
Or 4th and whatever, 4th and goal at the 9. So that seemed like a big mistake, too, there, because even if you don't get it, he's got to go 91 yards, and that's that much harder for him. And then the silver lining, there's 2 of them. One, it's way more interesting going forward because they lost. Honestly, if they win, the road forward, and this is true with almost all sports, is never as interesting as a team that's just in the journey and still clawing and trying to get it. And we're relevant, we're good, or they're good, whatever, 49ers. So I find it, I think it's going to be more interesting going forward. If they won, it would almost be like resolution, and then it would be like new chapter and blah, blah, blah.
I don't know, bro. Those Warriors titles were pretty interesting. So were those 3 Giants runs, you know what I mean? Well, I'd take them.
Hey, Mark, thanks for the call. Much appreciated.
Take that kind of interest.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what I think his most salient point is, which is they do risk, and I don't mean this from I don't care what the talking heads say and everything else. but where it starts to get in your head. When those Bills teams lost those Super Bowls, like Thurman Thomas couldn't find his helmet. I don't think that those guys, after a while, thought they were going to win the game, and they were just waiting for something to go wrong. And when it did, they went in the tank, and Dallas smoked them. Like all these.
First one was the only close one, right?
Yeah,
Norwood miss. Yeah.
Washington smoked them. The Giants Norwood missed those field goals.
Yep.
But then the ones after that, Washington smoked them. Dallas smoked them. Like I just don't think they thought they could win anymore. And maybe these guys are more mentally strong than that, but these guys who have been through these now, and look, 47 is a long time, but now Kittle's been through it, but they've also been through not only Super Bowls, it's Philly and Brock gets hurt, it's Jaquaski Tart drops one in the NFC Championship game, it's they get in some of these big games, and all of a sudden it's like something goes wrong, and I just wonder if we're not talking legacy, and we're not talking heads, and we're not saying Kyle can't win the big one. I'm just saying, like, will it mentally get in their heads that what the hell is going to go wrong next?
Yeah, and I don't know for sure, but there's quite a few guys on this team that have lost now in this big game. Nick Bosa is still young in his career. He's lost 2 Super Bowls now, right?
Well, and think about it in these terms, okay? 19, they lose the Super Bowl in Miami. 20, everybody's hurt, so throw that out. 21, Jaquaski drops the interception in the NFC Championship game. 22, Brock gets hurt. 23 season, 24 now, but 23 season, you lose in this fashion the way you did. So for the last 5, it's great to get there, but you're losing in these ways. If Jaquaski catches it, you go to the Super Bowl, do you win that? If they convert even 2 of these third downs, one on either end of the field where they get knocked down both times, if CMC doesn't fumble, we can go through a million here. But, all these guys, if you've been around here 5 years, you've lost since the first one.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost in a weird way in Miami. You had injuries. You lost in L.A. in a drop. You lost because Brock got hurt, and you lost. There was a number of different plays that could have been made. You lost in overtime, and this one you could have won. So now you're starting to think to yourself, if you've been here since 19, damn, can we ever win one of these? Because we get really close, and then something weird always happens. And will that get in their head?
But how many of the guys that were on the 19 team were on this team?
Yeah.
I would say that
a lot of key guys.
Sure, I would say the difference is you're talking Bills, and it was different because they went to 4 consecutive, but that was so many more. Like the percentage of the holdover players, I think, was much higher than what we're looking at here. You're talking Nick Bosa, you're talking 2 Super Bowls, absolutely. This is Brandon Ayuk's first. This is Brock Purdy's first. And I think when the injury stuff happens and things like last year, the season was such a different out of left field year that the year started with Trey Lance on TV last season.
What's interesting, and again, I'm not comping it because you're right.
I get what you're saying, though.
But Bosa, both linebackers, Kyle was here, Debo is here. There's a handful.
A handful.
Not as much. Right. But I think what starts to happen and where we might be taking this for granted is they've been to 4 of the last 5 NFC Championship games and 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls. All of a sudden, Dre Greenlaw's hurt now. And Brock Purdy's getting paid in 2 years, and you can't keep everybody. And, so my point in saying all this is they added Javon Hargrave, and they went to Jed and asked for the money, $80 million, to say, hey, can we get Javon Hargrave because we need a guy in the middle like we used to have in Buckner. We need a real anchor. Okay, well, he really wasn't worth that money. Can they go to Jed again and say, hey, man, Dre Greenlaw is going to be out. Can we sign Patrick Queen? Like, I'm just throwing out a guy who's a free agent. Is Jed every year going to say, okay, man, if you can, because this is Brock's last year where he's making $1 million, and next year he's going to make, the year after that, he's going to make 50.
Yeah.
So can you go to Jed one more time and say, hey, Jed, this is our position of weakness. Okay, right tackle. Let's just say, hey, right tackle stunk. McKivitz ain't going to cut it. We got to get ourselves a right tackle. And will Jed say, okay, here's another $80 million? I don't know.
It's probably not. Probably not. They've got to figure out how to win with it. They've done everything they could. They've used draft equity. They've used money. They've got the highest paid DN. They had a highest paid linebacker at one point. They had a highest paid quarterback at one point in Jimmy Garoppolo. They had the highest paid tight end at one point in George Kittle. At some point, you've just got to get over the hump.
Yeah, and also what happens is, it's attractive now. And you talked about the, NFC championship games, the Super Bowls that you're appearing in. Now, some of these players who have, maybe at the end of their career, they're attracted. They want to come to the 49ers because it's an opportunity to help get over that hump, but also to get a ring.
Let's go out to Dino, and it just says under topic, crap. Hi, Dino.
Agreed.
What's up, Dino?
I didn't say crap. But
I thought maybe they meant that you were in a crappy mood, which we understand. That's all.
No. Well, it does suck, but it sucks especially because actually, if you remember, John, first of all, your takes are unbelievable. You're pretty much dialed in on it all the way. But I like your takes all the time. But the sad thing, what I remember, John, about this game is the 49ers played one hell of a game, considering, and especially Brock. He was dialed in early, like Adam said. He was dialed in, man. Even though he was getting pressured, like we knew. I mean, Spagnuolo was throwing everything at him. But the thing that gets me, John, is the 49ers were actually one play away from winning the game. And it was they had 3rd down and 5. They were driving. They were up by 3.
Yep.
And they let it go to the 2-minute warning. And if they convert that and then they get a first down, it's like even Tony Romo was saying, then they run out the clock.
Yep.
If they get a first down. But
instead of kicking that field goal, right? Yep.
No, but no, I'm talking about with the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, I understand.
And they had a third. They had a 3rd down and 5, and they let it run down to the 2-minute warning. So anyway, when they come back from the 2-minute warning, with play resumed, Spagnuolo brought the rant on Purdy, and he couldn't complete the pass, and they had to. I don't know if they did kick the field goal. No, no, they still had a 3-point lead. They had to punt it, and But if they had converted that 3rd down and 5 with a minute 59, whatever it was on the clock, they run out the clock after that.
It was tied. The game. Here was the situation. It was tied at 16, and they were driving. And like you said, if they get that 3rd down, then what they can do is they can either run it all the way down because Kansas City had 2 field goals or 2 timeouts left. They took one early in the 4th. They could have got it all the way down, and Moody could have kicked a field goal, or they could have put it in the end zone, and then Kansas City, because Kansas City got the ball down 19-16 in the 4th quarter with a minute 53.
Yep.
So what happened was that they didn't convert, like you said, they didn't convert that 3rd down. It turned into 4th down after the 2-minute warning. So they ran it down to the 2-minute warning. They kicked the field goal, and then Kansas City got the ball, drove it all the way down. Kelce got knocked away by Warner at the end, settled for a field goal 19-19. Niners nailed it down, and they went into overtime. That's what you're talking about,
right? Not how it happened. That's not how it happened. No, that's not how it happened.
I'm looking at the plays in front of me, bro.
I promise you it did, because I have the play
right
right
in front of me. They were up by 3 points. And if they had made a first down, they would have won the game.
Yeah. The game was tied, but
okay. Okay.
The game was tied.
Good.
I'm just letting you know the game was tied at that point, 16-16. So
yeah,
just saying.
It was. KC kicked a field goal after a 12-play drive.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
The 49ers kicked a field goal, made it 19-16. Mahomes got the ball at the minute 52. That's what happened. So
I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, we don't care.
Dude, see now it's getting to John. You see this, Dennis?
No,
see this, Dennis starting to eat it, John. Look at him. See, it's starting to get him. I kind of like it. Now you're sitting in my pain. I like it. Now you're bathing in it with me.
What happened was we were trying to get Adam in a better mood, and his mood got to us.
That's right. I know what happened.
Listen, Dennis still has his Super Bowl. He doesn't seem angry at all.
Every Super Bowl I played in, we came out winners. So I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. I mean, it's tough to watch this team, especially with all the different with the season. Brock Purdy. You talk about Kyle Shanahan being offensive. I mean, all this. It's tough to watch. Like I said, I've covered 3 of these Super Bowls, and they've all been losses. It's tough to watch these guys and then. Go back, back to Santa Clara, go back to the facility, and you have these guys walking around with 4 or 5 different Super Bowl rings on. So it's tough to watch, but it is what it is. I mean, you got to get over the hump somehow, and you do it by executing, and you just didn't execute tonight.
Yeah.
And Nick Bosa said it. I mean, you got to play. You got to play, and it's going to sting. It's going to come back in waves. And for him, like I said, his young career, he's lost 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And then that's going to sting, but it's going to motivate him too, I think. So.
Anyway, KNBR, what's your favorite Super Bowl loss?
There you go.
Your favorite Super Bowl loss.
So many to choose from.
Oh, man.
Let's go back out to the phones. Let's go to Steve. Steve's in San Francisco. Steve, what's up, man? You're on the Sports Leader.
Oh, man, I'm gutted. But I got to say, Coach, you're defending Shanahan to no end. Drives me nuts. He didn't win.
Oh, my God, Steve, I'm not going to do this, man.
No, but please, just give me a second.
Okay, guys, I'm messing with you. Go ahead, bro. I'm messing with you.
All I am, I love you guys. I listen to this show
I appreciate
all the time.
you, bro.
All I'm saying is this. Kyle Shanahan is never going to get, arguably, a roster like this again. He's not going to. Most coaches don't. If he didn't win with this, what is going to say that he's going to do it otherwise? They had 2 huge turnovers 3 and out, no points after it. Niners offense, 9 points the entire second half. You have Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel, CMC, Purdy, Juice, all of these guys. And Wilkes, to his credit, the biggest thing we were all concerned about was this defense. The defense really did play lights out better than you could have expected. The defensive line had to show up. It did. They got all of those stops. And I know that there was a collapse in epic Niners fashion because this is what they do. It's not just one thing. It's Greenlaw tearing his Achilles, jogging onto the field, which only could happen to the 49ers. I get all of that, but I still come back and I go, but he is the head coach and he's supposed to be this offensive guru. And when that comes push to shove, when you need the touchdown to put them away at the end of overtime and you are driving and you call just a vanilla run off the right side to CMC that really wasn't working all the time. I mean, when is this guy...
Steve, I'm just going to pause you. I think you make some great points, Steve. But the issue I have is not the problem is none of us know enough about play calling for us to sit here and argue Kyle Shanahan's play calling. What everybody wanted was to see Christian McCaffrey touch the ball 30 times in the game, and if I told you he had before the game, you would have assumed they'd have won. If your argument is that Kyle made the wrong decision in taking the football in overtime, I'm with you. I'm behind it. That was his biggest flaw and faux pas in the game, was taking the ball. You can't say it's on Kyle and then say there were 2 bad turnovers and they didn't score afterwards. Yeah, he is an offensive guru. That's why they're in the Super Bowl right now with 4 guys who had 1,000 yards from scrimmage. So this is the problem I have, is the narrative that's he's supposed to be this. No, he is. He is. That's why they're here every year with an opportunity to go to a Super Bowl or to compete with the 262nd pick of the draft, that quarterback. I'm sick and tired of the notion that Kyle Shanahan is doesn't know what he's doing because they lose a big game to. Universally, tell me, everybody, when you say Kyle Shanahan's at fault, do you also agree that Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL right now? Because if you don't, that's absurd. You can't discredit everything Kyle does, not mention Steve Wilkes and say he had them ready to play. What about the one drive they needed to stop at the end of the game? What happened to that Super Bowl defense? Why were they playing in a cover 2 on a 3rd and 4, and you've got Travis Kelce dropping over for a first down across the middle? It was dink and dunk all the way down the field. They sat in soft zone. We saw this 2 weeks ago, and they didn't correct it until they went to man. See, now I'm pissed again.
Yeah.
Now I'm upset.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to blame Kyle's play calling.
You got to give Kansas City their flowers. I think Brock Purdy said it in his press conference that he was expecting Kansas City to play more of a zone, and they played man. And they played sticky man. I mean, they were rerouting receivers at the line of scrimmage, and that was a wrench in the system. You think you're going to go one way, and they come out a different way. So you got to give Kansas City a lot of credit. I mean, they came and they wanted to win a Super Bowl, just like the 49ers, and they had a different game plan.
They've won 2 in a row.
And they got after him. Players are on the football field. They got after the 49ers on offense, and they threw them a kind of a wrench. And then, and that's what football's about. It's a chess match.
Yeah.
It is a chess match. And
Steve, I do appreciate the call, man. No, I thought it was a good call. Steve made some good points, and I got heated, but Steve he's upset like I am.
No, I get it.
Steve's pissed like
I think people want to have a solution or want to have a one simple, hey, what happened in the game last night? And they can say, hey, it was Kyle Shanahan's fault. There's a lot of reasons they lost, but I'm just a big believer in players play, coaches coach, and I get it because it's happened time and time again with Kyle, so I understand the frustration from fans, but CMC fumbled. And you love CMC, so you don't want to blame him. He fumbled on the first drive. It was massive. Ray McLeod, I get it. If it touched somebody's ankle, Ray,
fall on it.
Get it. But you have to fall on it. You can't pick it up and try to run with it. Kansas City jamming guys at the line and blitzing on all the 3rd and longs that they had. We've had callers say tonight that Kyle didn't run it enough. We've had callers say Kyle ran it too much. I get it.
That's insane.
But at the end of the day, you know who won the game? 15. When they were getting shut down the whole game, and they went touchdown, field goal, touchdown. At the end of the game, and this is what you just said, the one thing we'll discuss forever in this Super Bowl is a brand new rule that says both teams touch the ball. You want to bat in the bottom of the 9th. Go back to baseball. You want to see what Patrick Mahomes did.
Nobody says ever I'll be the away team.
Right. Brock Purdy said and Brock Purdy said in his interview that we played, you don't want Patrick Mahomes to have the ball with the game on the line. You wouldn't have had that if you gave him the ball first. If he scores the touchdown,
you have a shot.
Then you have to score a touchdown. after you score the field goal, Patrick Mahomes knows he has to score a touchdown, and it totally changes their view, or doesn't have to score a touchdown, but he's thinking to himself, well, hell, I got money in the bank. I know I'm getting a field goal. I got a kicker that just kicked a 57-yarder, so they can be ultra aggressive to go after the touchdown. You could have been you want to be the last people on the field. You don't want to have him be the last guy. Kyle, I'm not going to say he screwed up. He said that the analytics said to do that. Kurt Warner told me in the booth right next to us that the analytics when they broadcasted said you're supposed to, with this new rule where both teams are guaranteed the ball regardless if the other team scores a touchdown, you want the ball last so you know what you need. So if you're going to get on Kyle for something, I think you get on for that.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of explaining to do. I don't know what his press conference was like, but that's going to be – I mean, everyone, up here in the booth, when they said we're taking the ball, everybody's like, what happened there? Why are we taking the ball first?
I just think Fred, because that's what you do. During the regular season and overtime, you want the ball because you score a touchdown, you win. But in this format, and again, I'm with Greg. I don't even know why they run a clock because it doesn't matter if it runs out. They get the ball to the end of their possession regardless of how much time's left on the clock.
Do they give you a certain number of timeouts? Might be a thing to they give you 2 timeouts and clock runs out, you get 2 more, right? If there's a second overtime. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that it's a time period.
So I think that's a new rule, and maybe everybody doesn't understand it.
Well, did Fred Warner understand it? I mean,
I don't think so.
Did he know going in there that we want them to have the ball?
Well, he's thinking overtime. This is the first time it's been used, and so I think Fred was thinking, well, in overtime you always take the ball, but in this situation with the new rule, you don't, because if Mahomes had scored that touchdown first, then the Niners would have known what they needed.
Yeah,
and they
have that sense of urgency.
So when they got down to the 9-yard line, and what he was complaining about is the 2nd and 4 McCaffrey run. If they're at the 9-yard line at that point, maybe Kyle doesn't call a run because he knows he has to get in the end zone at that point and is more aggressive.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, maybe they still don't win the game. Maybe Kansas City makes the stop. But I think the Niners find a way. Although, here's the other thing we have under-discussed. Kittle's got a bad shoulder. He went down into the tunnel, and Willis, the rookie from Oklahoma, had a holding call when Mitchell got a first down inside the 5. Now, Juszczyk saved him, and they got it back. But at that point, you're first down at the 4-yard line. So, again, who did Kyle say, all right, let's do red 22 on 3, and Braylon Willis, you hold the end so we get pushed back 10 yards. That's the plan. Hold the edge. We want a holding call here. No, he did not do that.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah.
Seems unlikely.
The goal on this play is to have a holding call to push us back 10 yards. He's on the field because George Kittle's hurt. I mean, just a lot of weird stuff happened tonight.
Niners lose 25-22 at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champ Dennis Brown, and John Lund with you here from Allegiant Stadium, the site of the Niners' 3rd consecutive Super Bowl loss. 808 KNBR is the number to call. We'll have more for you from Allegiant Stadium, only here on the Sports Leader.
that's just, I think that's what our defense expects to do. And, yeah, they played really well and they needed to play well. Gave us plenty of opportunities, and we didn't take advantage of them.
That's George Kittle. George Kittle today, you would have thought he had more. He did get injured. He had a shoulder injury, which why he was not on the field late in that drive in which the 49ers set up for a field goal. Despite the fact that they got down to the Kansas City 9-yard line, that would be a fateful drive because they did get the 3 points to make it 22-19, a lead over the Chiefs, but then Kansas City got the ball, drove down 25-22. They get the game-winning touchdown, Patrick Mahomes to McCole Hardman, and McCole Hardman was wide open in the end zone, and that's it. The 49ers lose it 25-22. Mahomes ended 34 of 46, 333, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for the lot of the game, just like in Miami. The 49ers really held him down. In fact, his 46 attempts were the exact amount that he had in Miami. He was 26 of 46. Tonight he was 34 of 46. Brock Purdy 23 of 38. And again, George Kittle, you'd have thought he had a bigger game. Only 3 targets, 2 catches, 4 yards. Now he did catch a big 4th down, 4th and 3. Remember when Kyle did go for it. But again,
1 for 1.
If you'd have told me George Kittle, 2 catches, 4 yards, that's rough, man.
He's about putting a bank on it, kind of.
Yeah.
I didn't go out with a bang, did I?
Well, reception-wise, other than McCaffrey, I mean, Jennings might have been the MVP of this. He had 4 for 42 and a touchdown and threw that touchdown. But again, Ayuk, 3 for 49, not great. Debo, 3 for 33, not great. I mean, Juszczyk was 2 for 31, made 2 big catches, and then Ray had 1 for 19 and Conley 1 for 18. So, again, combined with Ayuk and Jennings, what's that, 7 for 91? I mean, that's not Ayuk and Jennings, Ayuk and Samuel, sorry, 6 for, what's that, 72? 6 for 72 combined between Ayuk and Debo? That's not good.
Well, and we've said it. I mean, that defense, Kansas City defense, you got to give them credit. They came to play. They came to win another Super Bowl, and defense is going to win you championships every time. And they had very sticky. And Brock said it. Brock was like, we're expecting them to play zone, and they played man. They played tough man. So, it like you've said it, players make plays. And you shut down, and you talk about the weapons on the 49ers. If you can, Debo gets hurt, he comes out the game for a while. Kittle gets hurt, he comes out the game for a while. So your big weapons are down, and you got to make plays somehow. So it's Kansas City showed up. I mean, that's all you can say. They showed up, they executed, they didn't make the mistakes. They played well.
Again, we got a guy Bill here on the YouTube chat keeps going, well, whose fault is this? Whose fault is that? I mean, why do we have to blame? Again, the Kansas City Chiefs, this isn't some fluke team.
Right.
They've won 3. They've been to 4 in the time that the 49ers have been to that many NFC Championship games, right? And they've won 3 of them. Patrick Mahomes is already about halfway to Tom Brady. That's like, come on. Yeah, this is again. He's the second youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. This team is stacked, and they've done it now in different ways. Steve Spagnuolo, an incredible, probably a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, a Hall of Fame head coach, a Hall of Fame quarterback, likely a Hall of Fame tight end. Like there's. This doesn't all have to be. We love to look at the Niner roster, and people are going, "How many times can you get close and come to the doorstep and not get it done?" It's true, but to your point, does this mean that Kevin Durant's not a good player? Because he ran into the Steph Curry dynasty, right? Does it at some point you got to tip your cap and say there are other great players and coaches in the league, and maybe it wasn't your time. Oh, and it's hard to swallow that, but that's what happens.
It is. That's the thing. It's hard to swallow.
Yeah,
it's hard to swallow.
I get that.
And here's the thing too.
I'm trying to do it too.
You got to knock out the champ. And you just gave him too many opportunities.
Yeah.
When CMC fumbles and Ray fumbles, and you don't get third downs, they were 3 of 12, and a lot of times they were long third downs. You've got to knock out the champ. That's why, look, in the booth up here, when they got down to the 9-yard line, they got that first down, and again, we're in the first. They got the ball first in overtime, is what I'm talking about. Their first possession, and it's 19-19. We're all up here going, they've got to score a touchdown because you know who's on the other side. So it's exactly what you just said. You've got to knock out the champ. Field goals do not knock out the champ.
And they count more for this guy than they do for anybody else, it seems like. He's staying close.
When you score 3, you're doing them a favor a lot of times. And who didn't know? I mean, we all felt this when it went 22-19 and Mahomes had endless time because you're guaranteed a possession with the new rule in the Super Bowl. Who didn't think Mahomes probably getting a touchdown here?
Yep.
So that's what Kyle had to think, and I know that's why the frustration is there from the fans. But you gave Kansas City too many opportunities. You were smoking them in the first quarter. There was no score. They absolutely dominated the first quarter. There was no score in the game. They dominated the first half. It was 10-3. Then Mahomes comes out and says, hey, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the ball at our 44. It's 10-3, Mahomes throws an interception to Jair Brown on the first possession. They get the ball at the 44. Jake Moody is kicking the hell out of the ball in the extra points, a 55 and a 53. So you get Jake Moody 9 yards right there, and you're up 13-3. Want, 3 and out. You had opportunities to make plays. You didn't, or as you said, Kansas City did.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
That's it. You don't make the plays, and the opponent makes the plays. And that's what it kind of comes down to. I mean, we can point, we can talk about decision making and play calling, but that's what it comes down to. Execution. That's what football is about. Execute, not making mistakes.
Let's go to Emilio. Hi, Emilio. Welcome. Hi, Emilio.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys
wanted to
doing?
give you a proper welcome.
I love it, man. I love it. Thanks for taking my call, man. I've been enjoying listening to this tonight. I got, you guys made some great observations. One of them was that it's like somebody said earlier, Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, I watched the game. He was kind of galvanizing his team. At one point, Jones was trying to galvanize the defense. Come on, guys. It was like watching a really long game of tug of war. You know what I mean? So I was just curious, you guys' thoughts on, one, who on the 49ers, because you don't see that really. I know they're a young team, but who on the 49ers you think should be doing that, taking on that role? And then you guys also made a great point. Someone said something about the Buffalo Bills. It kind of reminds me of, I'm a Sharks fan, and it's like they had all those great teams with Pavelski, Jumbo, Marlowe, and they could never get over the hump. It was mental. And they finally get to the Stanley Cup, and they run into Sidney Crosby. So anyway, it's hard. When you watch the Niners, all these great teams, they'll snatch one. This roster is really good. If they can keep it together next year, who knows? But yeah, guys, that's what I have. I just wanted to know you guys' thoughts on that stuff.
Hey, Emilio, before you go, we'll always have the 5-minute major, man.
Oh, say that again?
We'll always have the 5-minute major, bro.
There you go. Oh, man, that's my all-time.
See, now you got him going.
See, I brought you back. See, I got you,
brought
bro.
me back. Dude, if I was just talking to somebody about that at work, if you want to see one of the greatest sports moments of all time that I think of, the 5-minute major was one of the greatest, man. Man,
and then when Vegas fans want to complain, then you just go, "Hey man, bummer. Sorry, man, I can't do anything about that." Appreciate the call, Emilio. Appreciate the call, bro. You're talking about guys who got. I actually think the 49ers have a lot of guys like that. Fred Warner's a guy like that.
Yeah,
he can galvanize. We've seen him do that. We saw him do that in the Seattle game. Remember the big hit he puts on DK Metcalf at the end, runs to the sideline, and people are rallying. I think Fred Warner is certainly a guy who does that. I think George Kittle's a guy who does that. Right? I mean, I don't know that everybody has to be Ray Lewis, and I think great leaders and guys who can do that know the pulse of their locker room, right, Dennis?
Right. And I look at Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead's a guy that he can really. I mean, he's a senior on this football team. He's a guy that kind of brings guys together on defensive line, gets them fighting. And Nick Bosa's starting to become one of those guys, even though he does it in a different way. I think he does it more with action, but he's becoming more vocal on this defense. And I think this is a good locker room. They always say things, we love each other in this locker room, but I think these guys generally, they like each other. I mean, you don't hear about any negative stuff that comes from this football team. They believe in each other. They've gone through a lot of challenges, quarterbacks, the injuries and things like that, and then these Super Bowls. So I think, leadership is going to be big if you can keep these guys together. And like I said, it's hard to do in the National Football League. But if you keep these guys, that locker room, that solid core guys, these guys will be right back at a Super Bowl game.
Yeah, it's just raw right now. Like you said, they've got to come back and start it all over. It's going to be difficult. Say that again, Tim. Let's go to Dave in Antioch. Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. Welcome, Dave.
Bye, Dave. Bye, Dave in Antioch.
All right. Let's go to Luis. He's in Las Vegas, and he's going through the grief we are because you're in Las Vegas and you want to have fun. Well, I guess you're on your stars. Hi, Luis. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey,
man.
Long time listener, first time caller, but
appreciate
I gotta say, man, I'm going through all the 5 stages of grief. I'm in Las Vegas right now. I'm actually in bed, and I'm blowing off.
I hear you, bro.
You got room for one more, bro?
Yeah,
that's weird.
Listen, man. Yeah.
He's like, no.
Thank you. It's not as weird as sitting here looking at this confetti.
So explain, what are you doing here? Because like you said, you probably thought, hey, they're going to win. I'm going to be out on the town. It's going to be awesome. I mean, this is what we all thought. So
yeah.
how are you handling it?
I'm going through the 5 stages of grief. I'm blowing off a Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg party tonight because I'm just too upset. I don't want to be around any celebrating fans because I don't want to go to jail. But, I mean, in the grand scheme of it, it was an awesome game. I mean, we went to overtime. Brock Purdy in the second year took us to the Super Bowl. I mean, we were so close. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is our window for winning the Super Bowl closing? But at the same time, think about this. I think the difference in the game was, the fumble and the punt return, and then Christian McCaffrey's fumble, which was uncharacteristic in the first quarter. But, at the end of the day, kudos to, Mahomes and Reed, for the halftime adjustments. At the end of the day, yeah, I get it. We should have deferred in overtime, but football is football. At the end of the day, the better team won, and kudos to them. I'm just happy that, hey, I got to be part of this atmosphere. But, I want to say here's to looking at next year, but who knows, man? I mean, you only get this shot so many times, and it seems like everything was stacked against us even from the turf during the practice throughout this week. I mean, I've been here since Tuesday, and you can tell by my voice I'm partied out.
I can hear you.
But man, I fly back to Sacramento tomorrow, and it's just tough, man. At this point, I've been happy, I've been sad. I'm like, hey, but I want to take your guys' point on, the halftime adjustments that, Andy Reid and his staff made, and kudos to them.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. That's a mature phone call. Luis, hang in there, man. We feel your pain. We're in Las Vegas as well. We appreciate you making the call. Yeah, look, dude, that's a real dedicated fan, man. You don't want to hang with Dr. Dre and Snoop, and man, I realize you don't want to party and everything. He said he'd go to jail, but it was like, well, then drown your sorrows. There's many reasons to drink. You don't have to be
most of them
drink.
bad too. Yeah,
yeah, you don't have to drink.
I feel him, dude. I feel that's why I'm not.
I just love the passion. I love this passion, though. I love it. You can feel the pain. Like you were part of this football game. And a lot of the fans feel the same way. Like you're a part of it. Yeah. But yeah, it hurts. If you were the guy who called from Kezar, all he knows is Super Bowl wins, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And now he knows his Super Bowl losses.
Yeah.
And that's real pain. If you're a fan, that's a 49er fan, that's real pain because you've won 5, and this guy was from Kezar,
right?
Who calls? So he's felt the 5. He's seen the parades. He's seen Joe. He's seen Steve, and now he's got this in his memory now. These 3. So I can dig the pain. I can dig the pain. But again, you get an opportunity to do it again. You go through the off-season training camp and all that stuff, and I do think the 49ers will find themselves back in this situation again.
Yeah, look, they're really good. Next year is the 30-year anniversary from it. So from your Super Bowl, yesterday we talked about 29, and now it's going to be 30. And, it's weird to think about because growing up, when I thought of the 49ers, I thought of Joe Montana, and nobody beats them, and now that's what Kansas City is becoming, and you mentioned Steph Curry. There's just certain guys that, man, when you get in a close game, if you allow them to be in a close game, they beat you, and he does. And now the 49ers, that one guy called before and said, are we becoming the Bills? Well, man, it's starting to look that way because you start looking at it and you start saying they get close. Kyle gets really close. They have the it. Kansas City right now, because I want to give them more credit than I want to bitch and moan about the 49ers. They played a great game and had a great game plan, and as you said, Brock Purdy said it. So they played great, and especially when they needed to, and they have the it. And the 49ers, whether you want to admit it or not, I would imagine that they were sitting there late in the game going, as confident as they could be, and went, that guy's going to beat us. It's just I gotta believe that's how you start thinking. Teams thought that about Joe, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
when Joe ran on the field, man, it was like he's gonna do something.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. And it's interesting you say that, and and you think about that overtime, and it seems so obvious to everyone up here because we're all brilliant up here, right? But on the football field, Kyle Shanahan didn't see it the same way, and I wonder why. You came out right away and you said, "Don't we take the ball?" Don't we take the ball?
Yeah.
But it seems so obvious to everybody in this booth, all the 49er fans. But for some reason, on the field, where the decision is made, it wasn't that easy.
I wonder who Joe Montana was rooting for.
Are people still here on the field?
Yes, people are
dude,
still
I'm not
here.
Starting
back into the confetti yet.
I hate this crap, dude.
Man.
This is so
well, they got the cleaning crew coming in.
They still have the score on the scoreboard. Yeah. What are they doing?
No. And we're staring right at it.
Go
3
away.
seconds. 3 seconds left.
Yeah, I've done this a few times now. It's not very fun.
Let's sign off on the other side.
I know what they need to do is turn all the electronic stuff off.
You hand me a vacuum, I'll clean it up.
Hand me a vacuum.
Jesus
All right,
Christ.
25-22. We'll hit a couple before we get out of here. Thoughts, text line, and everything. And do remember, we'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. Murph and Marcus will be on, and then I'll be on from Vegas. I can't wait for that show. And
Did you move here? Did you move to Vegas?
So we're doing one last show here because apparently flights aren't flying out here anymore. So we'll be here tomorrow, and then Tolbert and Copes. And
I'm not doing
Copes
that.
is ready,
There's no
man.
way.
He is. In fact, he just wants to keep going. But we're not going to let him.
Is Tolbert here?
No, he bailed.
What, you
he
kidding
took
me?
off.
Are you serious?
Okay.
After the show on, let's see, what, you guys end at 6 o'clock on Friday?
Yeah, we'll
He
see.
was at the airport by 6:01.
He was there, yeah.
He was gone.
I was there at his mom's and she's making biscuits
That's right.
and gravy. I guess the other night.
And then that was it. All right, we'll put a ball in this thing. We'll take a few more thoughts. Allegiant Stadium, the 49ers lose in their bid to get number 6, 25-22. Live in Vegas, only here on the Sports Center.
They don't have to, I don't think. The overtime will end here before the clock. 7 seconds, 6. They are going to snap it. Mahomes going to roll to his right, throws, touchdown. The Chiefs have won the Super Bowl. McCole Hardman. As they roll Mahomes right, McCole Hardman is wide open. And the Chiefs win the Super Bowl back-to-back years. Another heartbreaking loss for Kyle Shanahan.
That is the call of the game. Of course, Greg Pop and Tim Ryan. It's brought to us by our good friends at Call 811. Whether your project is big or small, call 811 before you dig. And by our good friends at Ooma, the smartphone for your home and business. That is your call of the game. We don't want to play it, but that is the call of the game. And Patrick Mahomes hits McCole Hardman, and that was it. The Chiefs 25-22 over the 49ers. Before we take some final thoughts here, thanks to Tim, thanks to Danny, thanks to all these guys behind the scenes.
Kyle and Raph,
yeah,
Tony, all those guys all year long.
They're there a long time. They work all season long. They don't get near enough credit, and they do a great job. And the reason why we have all the highlights and everything can sound so good and everything like that is what a great job they do. And Tim writes out all these great
Incredible
things.
game
And so,
notes for us, yeah.
I'm actually a gigantic dope, and then I just read what Tim writes, and then it's great. So he gives us all sorts of great stuff. Danny not only runs our show afterwards, but runs everything all day long with Greg and Tim, and so he does a tremendous job. So all these guys put in major hours so that we can sound good, so the station can sound good, so the Niners broadcast sound good. So those guys do an amazing job, and they should be applauded. And it's funny because as we only have a few minutes left here from Las Vegas, man, this thing started back in August, and camp started in July.
Is that when we got here? Was August?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. What is it? So now it's
like now.
Yeah, it feels like.
Yeah, what do we got? The 3 preseasons, the 17 regs, so we got 20 plus the 2, 22, 23, 23rd game. And it's, what is today, February 11th?
Yeah, man.
I mean, just crazy. So, awesome job. It is always awesome
blast,
with you
boys,
guys.
yeah.
We have a fun, we've been doing this a long time, and we have a great time doing it. We love doing it. And, look, today's a disappointment, not only for fans, for us. We've been down here in Vegas. We've been talking to tons of Niners fans. They all made the trek. They all spent the money. This is not cheap to do these things. And so, mad respect to all the Niners fans who not only came down here, but the ones who didn't. And just, as you can hear the frustration in their voice, they put a lot of time, effort, love, emotion into all this kind of stuff, and they're waiting for that streak to end. And me, for one, I thought it was going to end today, and probably should have ended today, but it didn't.
Yeah. And one thing for sure, I mean, the faithful's going to be. It's going to sting. It's going to hurt for a little while, but the faithful's going to be back. They're going to be behind this team. They believe in Kyle Shanahan. They believe in this football team. And once camp starts up again, you're going to hear Quest for 6. It's going to start all over again. Same old thing. So this faithful's been strong. I mean, this team, they travel well. I mean, they travel well out here. It's an easy trip, but still, like you said, they spent the money, they spent the time, they believe in this football team. They will always be behind this football team, and it's going to start all over again. Quest for 6, and that's it sounds it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. And they've had opportunities, but like I've said the whole night, this team will be back in this situation. Not next year, but maybe not next year, but it's going to be soon.
It's tough pill to swallow for a lot of fans today, and we'll get through it tomorrow. We'll get through the rest of the week, and just why not 13 days till the first spring training game. Adam Copeland, Super Bowl champion, Dennis Brown. It's John Lund. It's been a lot of fun all year long. Thanks to everybody. We expanded our coverage this year. We started doing YouTube streams and stuff, taking a lot more calls. Really appreciate everybody, all the listeners, the fans. That's what makes sports so fun, is getting through it together and being part of the fabric. And when you win together, you win together. When you lose together, we cry in our beer together. So everybody be safe tonight. If you're drinking, stay home, stay off the roads, and we will be back with you 6 a.m. tomorrow, bright and early, only here on The Sports Leader.